And Amy, continuing our discussion about the vote today on Obamacare replacement, we're pleased to be joined by Mike Tanner. He is a senior fellow for the Cato Institute and noted author of books and a whole raft of articles on the topics of healthcare and poverty, education, welfare-related issues. Mike Tanner, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you.
One of the arguments you made in a recent piece in National Review, which I kind of want to start with, is this idea that some conservatives need to wrap their minds around that the alternative to Obamacare is not going to be a chapter from Milton Friedman's Capitalism and Freedom. And just kind of wants you to develop that in terms of your assessment of what is being voted up in the House today.
Sure, I think it's on both sides of this. I think, first of all, for large portions of the media and for the left, they need to understand that the Republican alternative isn't being matched against some sort of utopia of universal coverage and low cost. It's being matched against Obamacare, which is a disaster and which is failing. So to say that any change to it is somehow taking things away from people is a clear exaggeration. On the other side, I think some of the Republicans need to realize that 2008 is gone. Basically, we've had now 7 years of Obamacare. It has changed the medical landscape, and that they're going to have to deal with the fact that we can't simply go back to where we were before. Not that where we were before was a very good system.
Is the win here one of the most important aspects of this bill? I mean, it's President Trump's first legislation piece, and we can't have him fail this early in his presidency.
Yeah, that is a very important political consideration, that if this bill goes down, what's going to happen with tax reform and a number of other issues that Republicans care about. And I think that's largely the argument that the leadership is making right now, that do they really want to cripple the Trump presidency at this point? It's the same basic argument, by the way, that Barack Obama made in getting Obamacare passed in the first place, that this was his number one priority. Democrats had to come on board. That's how he managed to get enough votes to squeak it through. And I do think that carries a lot of weight with Republicans. It's also very important to know that whatever comes out of the House doesn't matter. The Senate is basically going to delete everything except the title and rewrite it from the scratch anyway. So they're really going through a lot of agony that's not going to matter a whole lot.
Well, I want to, thinking about winning, political wins as the means to policy wins. So I want to ask that secondary question. Does this advance the flag towards a market-oriented health insurance system in this country? Would this be a policy win, even an imperfect one?
Probably not, in my opinion, because I don't think it actually works from a structural standpoint. I mean, it certainly will be good for the Trump momentum and to change the headlines from some of the bad news that keeps coming out these days. But in terms of policy, they still have a problem with what's called an adverse selection death spiral. Mm-hmm. That is that sick people will sign up for the program, healthy people won't buy insurance, and that makes it very difficult to keep the insurance market stable. And I actually think the Republican plan makes that worse.
How so?
Well, essentially, if you're going to try to insure people with pre-existing conditions, which means people who are already sick, people who are basically by definition uninsurable, and you're trying to insure them in the existing insurance market, which both Obamacare and the Republican plan do, you have to have a lot of healthy people who are never going to use insurance to sign up to. Well, the Obamacare basically tried to do this with an individual mandate to force young, healthy people to buy insurance. The Republicans do away with that mandate and basically don't substitute anything else. They have sort of a 30% penalty for 1 year if you go uninsured for too long and then try to buy insurance after you're sick. But that's going to have very little deterrent effect. So I think the pool, which is already too sick and is making Obamacare fall apart, is actually going to get worse under this bill.
And no one's ever been able to answer this question with certainty. Is there any way, if you like your doctor, are you guaranteed that you can keep your doctor, or can you go back to the doctor that you had before Obamacare?
No, and in part because those networks no longer exist with insurers. Insurers have basically, in order to try to keep afloat during Obamacare, have cut their networks back, dropped a lot of the doctors that they used to carry. A lot of the centers of excellence in terms of hospitals are no longer covered by major insurance plans. it's going to have to wait and see if those insurance companies eventually start building out again. But that's not going to happen overnight.
All right. He is Mike Tanner, Senior Fellow for the Cato Institute. Mike, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Love it.
Thanks. Quickly, Jeff and Gurnee, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Ever since March of '09, when we were told by Pelosi that we have to pass the bill to find out what's in the bill, Republicans have been touting the fact that all they want to do is repeal and replace it. They've tried and tried. They've gone for re-election, and they've used that as their talking point, if you will, that that's what they want to do. And I think what we're seeing now are a lot of the rhinos that are basically saying, well, I'm on the fence and this, that, and the other, when everyone's saying, and they've said in the past, anything is better than Obamacare, and now they have a chance to do it, and they're hemming and hawing. And the last thing that I want to see is them losing their re-election midterm and then subsequently rendering Trump into a lame duck president, which, let's face it, they wanted that from January 20th of this year. And I just hope that doesn't happen. And I'll hang up now and have a great day, and I'll listen to your comments.
Thanks for the call, Jeff. Appreciate it. Justin in Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin. Hey, Justin.
Hi, Dad. Yep, sorry, I have my phone on mute.
No problem.
Hey, also to echo Jeff, thanks for taking my call. Love your show. Long-time listener.
Thank you.
All I wanted to say when I was listening to your comments earlier about will this passage or not passage of this bill affect the 2018 elections, the fact of the matter is that up here in Wisconsin, what's really going to make or break those elections is going to be jobs. It's going to be, did they get tax reform done? It's going to be, have they stopped illegals from coming in on the border? Have they stopped terrorists from coming in from these Middle Eastern countries where they want to kill our people? And the Republicans had better line up behind this guy because he's already given us many of the things that we voted for. We've got a conservative Supreme Court justice that it looks like we're going to get in. He's already stopped. I think the flow of illegals across the border is already down 40%. He's done a lot of really good things that I won't go into the litany of here, and we're happy out here with Donald Trump. And pass it or not, these Republicans had better get behind this guy because he is making more jobs out here, at least in Wisconsin. Everywhere, I don't know about Illinois, everywhere you look in the state of Wisconsin, the traditional blue-collar Democrat guys, the forgotten men, forgotten women, they're going back to work, and they love this guy.
All right, thanks for the call, Justin, and let's give Scott Walker a little credit for that, too.
Listen to